This is gonna be one weird, crazy take on Frankenstein. Everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Epictastic Joshua here. I talk movies, TV, a few occasions of music and anime. I do reviews, rankings, trailer reactions, all that good stuff. We're going to be talking about a 2024 release, another one here, and this is going to be for Liza Frankenstein, which this is directed by Zelda Williams, which in her feature-length directorial debut, and this is written by Diablo Cody and stars Kathryn Newton, Liza Soberano, Eikenberry, Chrest, Jenna Davis, and Carla Gugino. We follow a misunderstood teenage goth girl who's played by Kathryn Newton, and she reanimates a Victorian era corpse and works to make him into the man of her dreams. Now, take what I just said from that little pre-review sequence. This is a weird Frankenstein's love story. So what attracted me to this movie was I was looking forward to this because this was going to be the daughter of the late great Robin Williams directing this movie, and she's also acted in a few things before. I was very interested to see what she was going to do is directing wise, and I think not only with that, you had Diablo Cody writing, which she has only written a few things. She wrote Juno, which was an Academy Award winning screenplay, which I liked that movie. I also really liked Jennifer's Body, which it took a few watches, but Jennifer's Body has grown on me. And it's a movie that I think is a guilty pleasure, but I think this is a movie I think needs a little bit defending sometimes. So I was curious to see how this was going to go. You have the story of a teenage goth girl who's obsessed with Frankenstein's monster and obsessed with death. In a horror comedy with a mix of headers, also a mix of the Tim Burton such stuff like Beetlejuice and something. You had Kathryn Newton in this, and then you had Sprouse, who Kathryn Newton, she is a good actress. Horror, Quantumania, which I know some people didn't like her in, even Pikachu, and even stuff like Big Little Lies and such. So now having seen the movie, if you're not into weird Tim Burton-esque stuff like this, or the 80s stuff vibe, Frankenstein's way of telling the story isn't going to be your thing, but this is going to be another case where we have another cult classic on our hands. Starting off with the positives of this movie, I will say Kathryn Newton is really good in her. I like Kathryn Newton as Lisa Swallows. She's fun, she's very likable. She's done a lot of things like Big Little Lies, Halt and Catch Fire, Supernatural, also Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania, Detective Pikachu. I think she's a very strong actress, and I think overall she does a pretty good job in terms of what she could play with, and she actually does a very strong performance in terms of what she could play with. I think you get the fact that she's a little weird, she's a little obsessed with death and such. So in those moments, you actually do like her. But when it comes to the moments with her and her Victorian era boyfriend and wanting to resurrect her boyfriend, I actually really like that as such. I think that's actually very interesting. I very much really like it there. Sprouse, coming fresh off of Riverdale, which I'm gonna say it, Riverdale should have fucking ended the minute they graduated. Sprouse, I've always liked him even when The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and such. I think he's a good actor too. He does a very good job here as well, and he's fantastic in this movie. So he really does a very strong job, and I think overall he was good as the creature. He's very likable. You like him and Kathryn Newton together, so I definitely really enjoyed that part of things. The supporting cast, like Liza Soberano, which this was her first film I've ever seen her in, and I think she really does a good job. Chrest, Eikenberry, May Aglin, and also this is just pretty much what we're gonna have Carla Gugino and everything, which I ain't complaining about. I love Carla Gugino. She's a great actress. Even in the movie that's not so great, She's good in her. She's a freaking MILF as the narcissistic stepmother. I'm just gonna say right now. You watch Carla Gugino in this movie or anything else, so half the time she's playing the MILF of someone's kids. But just a little side joke there.
Relax, girl. I'm trying.
Yes, definitely. Absolutely. I think it's signed, sealed, and delivered, honey.
Yeah. And you know this, man.
So the acting overall was really strong here. The fact that this movie is shot on locations, there are real sets, real locations, it looks like a film, $13 million. I admire that. There's not a lot of CGI. There's a few moments of CG when you need it, but it mainly relies on the practical effects and the practicality of such, the locations, the neon, the lights aspect. I really enjoy that. I think that is also really strong in the movie. So from a visual standpoint, you get the nice neon lights and stuff, and the colors and the vibrancy into that, and that is actually really well done by Paula Huidobro. I will also say the way Zelda Williams chooses to direct this movie is also really damn awesome. I want to see, after this, I want to see what she does next, because she is really cool directing wise, and the late Robin Williams' daughter, she has great talent in her. I've liked her acting, so it's good to see her do some directing. And she really does a good job in terms of a directing standpoint, so definitely got to give it up to her. Feel a lot of her direction in this. This is her vision. She does go for that 80s vibe with the headers mixed with Beetlejuice, mixed with some of the crazy, weird Frankenstein-esque vibes, so you definitely know what you're getting yourself into in terms of that. I also thought Diablo Cody's writing, for the most part, was really solid. I think she's able to tackle this story very well. It also has a nice little journey about finding missing body parts for the corpse and encountering challenges and adventures, navigating through the themes of acceptance and identity and love. But it never gets to a point where I feel like it's a little obnoxious and it felt like it was just overdoing it. I felt like it was just right, and it felt a little more scaled back compared to something more crazy like Juno and Jennifer's Body, which is so freaking crazy. But I gotta give credit to where credit is due in terms of that and say it's absolutely a really strong thing, and I definitely really admired the fact that they actually went that route. Music wise, the musical score is also really solid. I also really admired the soundtrack in this film. It's a really solid soundtrack for this, and I definitely enjoyed what this movie had to offer. It was fun, and it just knew what it was. I definitely enjoyed what it wanted to be. It wasn't trying to be nothing it wasn't going to be. It just wanted to be the movie that you are. So I definitely quite enjoyed that. And also, I really just appreciate the fact that this is a very digestible little take on Frankenstein's monster. We've seen countless of takes of Frankenstein's monsters, whether with the Frankenstein's monster set of things, but also ideas that really go that route. And I welcome this kind of trend of doing things a little differently when it comes to stories like this. So I do hope, if they want to explore more stuff that we've seen familiar but also do it differently, like Little Red Riding Hood as a sci-fi idea or something, I do think you should take notes from this and not spend a whole lot. But I really admire just the fact that it knew what it was here. And finally, I will say, for another final positive, I will say the style here is very quirky and is very fun, but I also appreciate the fact that this movie gets progressively darker here. So I definitely really admire that, and despite this being a little PG-13, it is full on Diablo Cody, being quirky, fun, and just very out there. Moving on to some issues here, I will say I do wish this movie did have a little bit more of what you can play with in terms of some of the actors being here. I do wish some of the rest of the cast members got a little bit more to do, and there are moments, I do get it to where when it comes to this character that you do understand why she is acting the way she is. So I definitely can see some hocus pocus vibes here, that, and it's like a mix of Heathers and Edward Scissorhands. So I will say that some of that could be a little bit too much for some people. I can see some people walking away out saying that wasn't my thing or wasn't too much. So I will say, in terms of that, it's always great to get movies like this, but at the same time, some people are not going to be for this, especially with the influences and stuff. So it can be a little bit too weird for some people in areas. I will also say I can see some people just going into this and being like, nah, this way, some of the characters here is a little bit too much here. There's one character here that, while I do like some of the characters here, I will say there's some I wish had more to do, like Carla Gugino, and also with a few other actors and such in this. Not that they were terrible in the movie, I thought they could have had a lot more to do. So that's one thing I will say could have been a little more stronger. This is full on Diablo Cody, so if you know her writing, it is very quirky, it is very out there, and it is very weird and crazy. So you definitely have to be in the right mood when it comes to this, because someone will look at this and they will not be too enamored by it. And also, I did want a little bit more of some actors like Paula Huidobro and Joshua Montez, and even Jenna Davis, who is the voice of Megan. So there's a part of me that kind of wish this was rated R, to be a little bit more violent and play into the more weird 80s, like crazy Frankenstein's monster vibe. But that's just a me thing. Overall, guys, I really did have fun with this movie. Is this going to be the best movie of 2024? Absolutely not. But for a movie that is being a mix of the 80s and a mix of things like Edward Scissorhands and Heathers and such, I did enjoy the way this movie is going. I like the camera work, I like the performances, I did like the direction of this. Also, I definitely do appreciate this is a hard PG-13 rated film, because we haven't seen movies that pushes the envelopes like this in a very long time. There's very few movies, especially with superhero movies and the horror and stuff, while it has a few issues in terms of some of the humor and some of the stuff that isn't gonna work for everyone, and while this type of film isn't gonna work for everyone, I would definitely suggest people checking it out. I think you'll have a lot more fun enjoying it than you will. And if you're looking for fun craziness, definitely go see this weekend. If you're forward to watching this again. If you're a fan of Frankenstein's monster and such, I definitely would give this a shot. Just know where the line is, because not everyone's gonna enjoy it, but it helps if people will actually give things like this a chance, because you do need original movies like this. Well, that's gonna do it for the video that you just watched. If you want to see more, my channel icon is up here. If you want to see more content from me, all my social medias are right here in this end card. I will also leave a playlist and a video here for you to see what the channel is about. As always, acknowledge me, stay epictastic, join the Epictasticness, and you guys keep it cool.